Well, here I am once again with another frame or two or three. Actually, I've got five today to show you because they're little cases. But I wanted to show you some of the early stuff. And recently we've been looking at some of the newer points that I've made where I've got a lot better at what I was doing. But what the case we're looking at right now is one of my earliest cases. Now, I used to give a lot of talks to different groups and things back when I first started, and I got so I could actually make an arrowhead. And this was a case I always took with me because I wanted to show people the differences in different types of arrowheads and how you determine that. So this top row right here shows 5 different variations of how arrowheads would appear. Now the material is not all that important. Whatever they're made out of is whatever I had at the time to use. But the first one is a corner notch point right here. This is showing corner notching. The next one, the white one next to it, is a side notch. And, well, no, excuse me, let's go back. Base notch, side notch, now corner notch, bifurcated, and triangular. These were the 5 predominant shapes that I was finding in my area. So it just shows that arrowheads could appear in many forms. Now down below that, I've got some point types that just show a little bit of difference. This is a turkey tail point. That's got quite a base that's quite different from all these you see up here. And also next to that one is a Genesee style point. That one's made out of some Dover chert, I remember. Real dry, tough stuff. This one here is my early version of a Susquehanna broad point, and that is more of a bottleneck point. It's stemmed, but it's, well, as I say, it was early work, and that's what I made to represent it. Now down here are some tools. This one is a thumb scraper. Now when I first started finding arrowheads in the field, I would find these thumb scrapers, and I realized they were nothing more than a flake that was modified with beveling on the edges to provide a task of scraping. Next to that is a hafted scraper, possibly, and that's Onondaga by the way, possibly an arrowhead that had broken and then the end had become beveled and used also for cutting and scraping. Now here's a perforator or a small drill, and next to that is a regular sized drill that we might find. This was a very early Clovis attempt. This is before I got so I could actually do it. But this was the best I could do at the time. So that's a fluted point, and that's another point type. And it just shows how the variety of things that can be found out there. Now this one here was interesting because what I wanted to do is I wanted to show hafting. So what I did was I made a point, kind of a side notch, incurve base point, and then I tied it onto a foreshaft or like an arrow shaft or dart shaft, and showed how you could use like a sinew. This is imitation sinew, by the way, and you could bond it on there and it would be a real secure fit. This is more of a cash blade, like a north blade, and next to that one is a more narrow one, but I like these right here. These are blades. Now these would be struck off the rock, and maybe it was like a blade core or whatever, and you could strike these off, and these have razor sharp edges on both sides, and those were really valuable tools to use because they were easy to make, and you know, they held up very well because they kind of had a bevel to them already. So there's a look at my case that I took to share with people and show them the different types of things that could be made. Well, my biggest problem with learning was I didn't have a lot of material on hand, so I used what I could get. And in this case right here, it's a pretty impressive looking case. I used a material that was quite available, at least, you know, in my early knapping days. These are made out of Johnstone. Anybody ever hear of Johnstone? Well, what this is a broken toilet tank, porcelain, and I would chip off all of the shiny side, underside, and surface, and use that material to make these points. So it was great for learning, and you can see some of these are pretty good size. Look at this guy here. And when you're learning, you're going through a lot of rock, and you just got to have more all the time. And toilet tank or Johnstone was quite available. I would go around on cleanup day and find all the old toilet tanks in the stealth of night, grab them, bring them home, smash them, and then knap those pieces into points like you see here. So really, they didn't come out too bad. You know, they're pretty good size. Not the best work in the world, but when you're learning, it's a great material that's pretty much expendable. You know, if you break a piece of a toilet tank, nobody really cares, and it doesn't cost anything. Another material I found that was quite good to use was this right here. This is glass, and I started getting a hold of some different pieces of glass. Now you notice some of these are pretty cool looking. Look at this one here. It's almost got an opalescence to it, and they call it opal glass. And I was really getting the hang of things, and I was using glass because glass is really easy to use. That's actually from a truck taillight lens, more obsidian. Not sure where this came from. And that's the bottom of a beer bottle, and you can always tell because they are really pretty. And you make a lot of nice points using beer bottle bottoms when you're learning. And down here we've got there's a Dalton style. Not a bad looking little Clovis point here for those early days. Look at this. Fluted both sides, and it's got a little opalescence in it. Pretty cool point. Of course, the showpiece was this big turkey tail, and then there's a hardened point right there. Some corner notch. I love corner notching. Just to me, it looked like what arrowheads are supposed to look like. And a real pretty piece of greenish colored glass. So those are some of the things I used in my learning days. Of course, as a flint knapper, you never stop learning. Every time you grab a rock and start smacking away on it, chances are you might learn something. Maybe you'll try something you hadn't tried before, and it gives you good results. And that's, you know, how you learn, is just by stepping outside of your comfort zone and seeing what you can do. Now you will break things along the way, but that's all part of the learning. And one thing I really suggest is get a good supply of band-aids, because knapping with these sharp materials, hitting a stone or an antler or a copper billet, whatever you use, against these rocks produce very sharp flakes that will in time cut you as you're working. So band-aids are an important part of the toolkit. Now I'll be right back. I'm going to show a couple more cases. This is a lot of little cases here like that. I have 5 here today. And the next ones I think you'll get a kick out of, because these are some pretty cool things that I made, and all part of the Keeper collection. So I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. This is the 4th case now in this video. And what I'm showing you here is I got on a kick one time of making Cahokia style points. And these are little guides. As you can see, there's a dime. And these were I was very inspired by these when I first found out about Cahokia points. And I saved a lot of my flakes up, and I used those flakes to make these. These are really thin points, and there's quite a variety here. As you look around, you see the different notching that was done on these. And I patterned these after some that I've seen pictured from mounds where they found Cahokia points by the hundreds, if not thousands, that were buried in the mounds. And I really like this case. I've held this one for quite a while. I've had a lot of people want to buy this off me, but this one's not for sale as the rest. I just love keeping them and you know, passing them on hopefully to my family someday if they're interested. But yeah, that's my look at some of my work in Cahokias. Really takes good eyesight, and now that I wear glasses I see a whole lot better, and I can probably make these again. Now the last case I want to show you is something a little different. Now there is a little chipping in there, but also there's some slate work in here. Now I found out early on that they not only used chert and flint, but they also used slate to make these kind of objects. These are pendants. That's like a bow tie banner stone. There's a gorget. And you can see the different shapes. I really like this one right here. That's got a great shape to it. And all of these that you see holes drilled in, I drilled using a flint drill, very similar to what you see here. I mounted it on a stick and I turned it by hand and I drilled all these holes using nothing more than flint. And I gotta say, flint does a really good job cutting holes in softer materials than itself. So looking at some of these drills here, mostly what I used was Onondaga chert. Not sure what this one is, but it looks very close to Onondaga, but this one is definitely Onondaga. Here's a couple real pretty ones here. Different shapes to the bases, but pretty much uniform, like a T-shaped drill, maybe a spade drill. This one was from a corner notch point, and I can't remember what the material is, but I do believe this one's novaculite. And I should put something dark behind that because that just about disappears in the cloth. So there it is. There's a look at some more of my keeper cases. And I still have a few more, not too many. We're getting down now in numbers, but I do really like sharing these with you, and I hope you enjoy seeing them as much as I enjoy videoing these. So that'll be it for this week. I almost didn't get a video out this week. I've been busy. We went on vacation here last week and through the weekend, and I had to catch up on a lot of things, and so finally got around to it this week. So thanks for being patient, waiting for another video. As always, if you're not subbed, I definitely would appreciate it. I'm getting closer to I think 14,000 maybe subscribers, which is way more than I ever thought I'd have. And if you like this video, just feel free to sub, and that way you'll get my latest videos as they come out. And leave me a thumbs up and give me a comment. So until next week, that'll be it for this time, and we'll be sure to catch you on the next one. Everyone stay safe and well, and take care.